Welcome to Comics Are Awesome, brought to you by Alter Ego Comics. I'm Mark.
I'm Josh.
And we're here to talk about this week's best comics. The best comic, in my opinion, this week is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, number 297. That's right, we're returning to legacy numbering on the Peter Parker title. This is part one of the Most Wanted storyline, the first legacy issue, written by Chip Zdarsky, artwork by Adam Kubert with Juan Frigeri. It's been 2 weeks since the last issue came out. Can we spoil what happened?
I suppose.
I think we're going to, because that's the world we live in. And it kind of ties into this issue. So at the end of the last issue was the My Dinner with Spider-Man or My Dinner with Jonah or whatever it was, where Spider-Man was being interviewed by J. Jonah Jameson over a lasagna meal that Jonah prepared for him. And they had a very meaningful conversation. It was filled with history and triumphs and tragedies. And Jonah was at a very low point in the conversation, and Spider-Man felt that one way to kind of resolve the situation would be to reveal his identity as Peter Parker to his sworn nemesis, his sworn media nemesis, J. Jonah Jameson. So that's what happened. I think it's a major turning point in the lives of both of these men, and if you're a Spider-Man fan at all, it's a must-read. So this issue picks up where that issue left off. And it is just a fantastic story. It's a fantastic story. It's not a typical Spider-Man story in a way. Basically, Peter is trapped in his apartment building as Peter. He doesn't have a Spider-Man costume with him. He can't suddenly become Spider-Man and have Peter disappear. I don't know. He's trying to escape from the NYPD, who's tracking him down because they're working with S.H.I.E.L.D. to find his maybe sister, Teresa. It's a very convoluted... It's not really convoluted.
It's not that convoluted. The government's after him.
The government's after him. He's Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
But to see how Peter survives being hunted in his apartment building without revealing that he's Spider-Man is awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's just really, really good. And we find out more about this person that I don't remember. What's your name? Agent Mintz. I think he was in Christopher Mintz. Wasn't he in Kick-Ass? Oh, and
possible.
Josh's favorite panel in the book, Tiny Hands Peter.
Is that Kubert or is that the other guy?
That is the other guy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So this was it's everything I love about Spider-Man. Zdarsky is really doing a bang-up job on the Peter Parker title. It's really giving Amazing a run for its money, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the best Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
Not that there has to be a best, but
so what's the second place?
it is the one that was my first this week. So, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. It's the beginning of a new storyline. Lots of stuff going on, and man, it's been a rough week. Lots of stuff going on in the life of Peter Parker, and man, this is awesome.
My pick of the week this week is Ninja K, or possibly Ninjak, written by Christos Gage with art by Tomas Giarello. And this is the first issue of the new Ninjak run. We did get a 0 issue a month ago, give or take.
Yeah.
But you really don't have to have read that. If you have read it and liked it, you'll probably enjoy this. Is that the same penciler from...
I believe it is, yes.
From Exo Man of War?
Do you want me to go check?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter who's drawing it. It's pretty.
Yes.
They did a good job.
It's pretty.
And this kind of introduces... I'm going to be honest, my knowledge of Ninjak is limited to his appearances in other books. So I don't know how much of this is new continuity and how much of it has always been there and I just didn't know it. But it's a very cool look at sort of the history of the British Ninja
It's
program.
spreading.
Yes.
The sickness.
I also can't talk. So basically we get shots starting back during World War I when Japan and England were allies, all the way up through the present with the current Ninja K, who may or may not be Ninjak. I always assumed it was Ninjak because of Union Jack, the British flag symbol. But the
I
way
think this might be a new...
Yeah, it's definitely, they're calling him Ninja K in this. It's
because
just
the first Ninja, they did Ninja A, B, C, D.
Right.
And now we're
this
on
is
K.
Ninja K. And it's very cool. I found it reminiscent of Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction's Iron Fist run, where they kind of expanded on the history of the character and added depth. and seeing these different interpretations through time and how the times shaped the ninja program is very cool. And it definitely takes on a very strong James Bond kind of tint to it, especially with the ninja letters. They're referring to each other by D and K and J and stuff, just like Q and M and Bond. I don't know why Bond didn't get a letter, because he has a number?
The
It's
agents
007.
are double O's.
Okay. But very cool, very, very fun, well written. Christos Gage has a long history of writing with great people. He did a bunch of stuff with Slott on SpiderMan, right? He's always like,
in fact,
like
the last,
Slott.
not this current issue, but the issue before it was scripted, was plotted by Slott and written by Gage.
And he did a really good. He did Avengers Initiative, right? After
sure,
so I'm pretty sure, which I really liked. And a number of other books. He's very competent, but he hasn't really had a breakout book by himself. Hopefully this is it. But I'm very excited to see what's going on. Basically, someone is hunting down former members of the Ninja program, and so we get to meet a bunch of them and talk to them, and we get to find out, well, we don't find out necessarily who's doing it, but we get to see them come for some of the people in the book. And it's awesome. Spy, ninja action.
At this point, I'll put in another plug for the Valiant universe, as we do, as we are wont to do. Exo Manowar, now Ninja K, Bloodshot's going on right now. A-list talent, writing characters that you really can experience for the first time in a relatively small universe. So if you're looking to get into a new superhero universe, which is not exactly superhero-y, it's more it's almost like the, I don't want to say the beginning of the Marvel universe, but
right.
You have a wide variety of characters, well, 4 or 5 or 6, but they don't have any powers really. I mean, these guys anyway.
I mean,
you have other ones that develop powers. Anyway, that's enough. Valiant,
it's good.
Keep up the good work, Valiant. Sooner or later, it'll catch on. Next up for me, Dark Knight's Batman: The Man Who Laughs. This is a Dark Knight Metal tie-in, written by James Tynion IV, artwork by Riley Rossmo. And I think this is the one that people have been looking forward to the most, because The Man Who Laughs is kind of pulling the strings of all the other Batman-esque characters, except for Giuseppe. No, for...
Pinocchio?
What's that guy's name? Barbados.
Oh, Barbados, right.
Yes, Barbados is the big bad, but the Man Who Laughs is the one who has kind of gathered all of the various Batmen from the different multiverses, or the different Earths. And we get his origin story here, and man, it is really good, but it's depressing.
Well, it's a combination of Batman and the Joker, so neither of their origins is exactly happy to start with.
And not like any of the other ones have been uplifting, but this one more for me, I think, was really sad. Excellent storytelling, excellent artwork. I really enjoyed it, but man, with every page, I'm like, no, I can't read it anymore. It's so sad. So sad.
Well, I think that's a function of this one doesn't really have anything in our universe. It's all the prelude, and the previous ones were they do a quick version of the origin and then show them wreaking havoc in the main universe. So this, you get to see more time. You get to see him ruin more of the people you care about in his dimension, with the Bat Family and the various other...
Well, and the big question for me is, who's that?
No idea.
Yeah, so there
I mean, it could be almost anybody.
Well, you have to think it's somebody of importance, but...
Yeah. And did you see the universe panel?
Yes.
With all the little bubbles and stuff in there?
The different eras of DC.
Yeah, well, but I mean, one of them was clearly the Watchmen universe. And one of them, there's another one that I thought was a different...
Just keep flipping.
It's not in here. I'll keep flipping. It'll be here. Was it a different
book?
No,
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It might have been this book.
It could have been Justice League. Actually, you're probably right. It probably was Justice League. All right, move along. Ignore what I said.
Well, you know what? Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Okay, so Man Who Laughs. If you've been following Metal, if you've been reading these other one-shots, this is a no-brainer. It's excellent. Also out this week is the last part of Bats Out of Hell, which was the 4-part crossover between Flash, Hal Jordan, and the Green Lantern Corps, and Justice League. So this is part 4, and we've been experiencing this story through the lens of Cyborg. We continue to do that. Great writing by Joshua Williamson, artwork by Tyler Kirkham and Mikkel Janin, so it's a very pretty book. And it wraps some things up nicely and sets the stage for Metal number 4. So you get a double dose of Metal, as we have been for several weeks, but it's still worthwhile. Very worthwhile.
Is there a credit on there for the Wachowski siblings?
For this one?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Next up for me, first book in Legacy for Doctor Strange. This is issue 381, written by Donny Cates, with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walta. And this is the story, I think at the end of the last issue of Doctor Strange, we got sort of a hint that Loki was going to become the Sorcerer Supreme. And in this one, Loki is the Sorcerer Supreme. It looks like he's been Sorcerer Supreme for a while. We kind of jump in the middle of things. So Loki's taken up residence at the Sanctum Sanctorum, and he's hired, or still has, Doctor Strange's librarian friend from the previous Jason Aaron run. And we get to see him going around and doing Doctor Strange type stuff. And as always, when Loki's doing something, Thor has to show up and have words with him. Some of the magical people are wondering, but where's Steven? If he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, where is he? And we find out by the end of the issue, it is probably not what you expect. Donny Cates has done a lot of great indie stuff with Baby Teeth and Country. And it's neat to see him take on a mainstream title. And I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where he goes with it. Because really, when you have Loki and Magic and Doctor Strange, you could literally do almost anything. There's not a lot of boundaries when you're talking characters on that power level.
You can just write an issue where Loki falls for a half hour.
Right.
And, yeah. Okay, next up for me, Amazing Spider-Man, number 791. So that's right, 2 Spider-Man books this week, because they were both really, really good. So this is Fall of Parker, Part 3. This one written by Dan Slott, artwork by Stuart Immonen. So a dynamic duo creative team on this one. At the end of the last issue, Peter was offered a job back at the Daily Bugle because his Parker Industries has kind of imploded thanks to Doc Ock and Hydra and all other
thanks to Peter.
Manner of bad things. Yeah, thanks to Peter.
He made the choice.
He did, but it was the right choice.
He took responsibility for his power.
He did. So he's not back snapping pictures. He is back as the editor of a weekly science column that appears in the Sunday edition.
I think it's the science section.
Science section.
Because he has a bunch of people under him. If it was a column, he wouldn't have a staff.
Well, yeah. He is still involved with Bobby Morse, a.k.a. Mockingbird, and their relationship is somewhat unclear. We had this discussion off camera. We're not really sure what's going on with them, whether they're like friends with benefits or whether they are romantically involved. I'm not sure. I think they are.
Well, they definitely kissed a couple times.
She calls him sweetie, but that happens. You go to a diner.
She's a spy.
Flo says that. So.
Did she tell him to kiss her grits?
This is about artificial intelligence and kind of a competing tech firm that it has developed this AI that's going to change everything, but not everything is as it seems, and Spider-Man and Mockingbird need to save the day. So this is just a continuation of Slott's stellar writing on this, giving us a more mature Peter Parker, kind of having come full circle from where he started during Slott's original run. Now he's back at the Bugle, and in fact, I don't think I'm spoiling anything by going to the back, but it was just kind of nice. The last panel on here is Peter saying, "I feel like I'm home," back at the Bugle. So we've got some new supporting cast members that we meet, which Slott has done an excellent job of over the years of introducing these characters that stick and resonate with fans and are not just appearing on one panel, but they become regulars in the book that you actually care about. We also see Liz Allen and Harry Osborn, possibly journeying further towards the dark side. I don't know. But this is great. The Spider books, much like the Bat books across the aisle, the Spider-Man books are all kinds of awesome.
Yeah, that was neck and neck for my pick of the week. I really like that issue of Amazing. Next up for me, another part 1 of Legacy. We've got Punisher War Machine, part 1. The title of the book is Punisher. The storyline is called Punisher War Machine. Written by Matthew Rosenberg with art by Gooey?
I'm not even going to try.
Gooey Villanova is how I'm going to say it.
The Marvel bullpen is now in South America.
And that's fine, because some of the art is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, going into Legacy, basically you don't have to read any of the previous.
It's the Punisher.
Right, that's true. Every Punisher issue, if you pick it up, he's probably stalking someone to murder them because they've done bad things. But it's very cool. We get your kind of traditional Frank Castle being the best there is at what he does, and he gets lured into a discussion with Nick Fury Jr. They have some great dialogue and banter. For me, it was very reminiscent of the Garth Ennis Max part, where the original Fury hires or coerces Frank into going to Russia to solve a problem for him because S.H.I.E.L.D. can't have their fingerprints on it. And anytime you can evoke Garth Ennis in the Punisher realm, you're doing your job right. So good job for Matthew Rosenberg. But basically, I mean, obviously it's on the cover, so there's no real need to be coy about it. Fury wants him to steal the War Machine suit because when S.H.I.E.L.D. destabilized, disappeared, went away for the 17th time, it was collected by someone else, and Fury wants it on the table, and he needs Frank for a mission in it. So yeah, Punisher, War Machine, awesome. There's nothing about combining those two characters that isn't great. And we get a kind of quick little, it's not quick actually, it's pretty long, it's a page of text from Matthew Rosenberg in the back, and it's basically a love letter to his connection to the Punisher, what it's meant in his life and his development as a comic book reader. And he made me want to read more of the book. Not that the book itself didn't make me want to do that, but it was very good. I'm excited to have a more, I don't want to say action-y Punisher, because there was action in the Larson one, and I like the Hope Larson Punisher, but it's not classic 90s. What?
Was it Becky Cloonan?
I thought it was Hope Larson. Is it Becky Cloonan?
I think it's Becky Cloonan.
The last Punisher arc was good, but it wasn't kind of 90s era, I will shoot the crap out of everything Punisher, which is what we get here, especially when you give him a War Machine armor. And out 2 weeks ago, also by Matthew Rosenberg, in graphic novel, we have 4 kids walk into a bank from Black Mask. This is art by, I really hate the way Black Mask credits their books, because I have to flip through half the damn thing to figure out who's writing it or what they're doing. Art and design by Tyler Boss, flattening by Claire DeSouzy. I don't know what flattening is. I've read a lot of credit pages. I mean, I assume that's an art. I mean, I know what it is if I'm making PDFs or something, but anyway. Awesome. Let's visit the back page here where we've got the expounding by some people you may have heard of. Exploding with Ambition and Love for the Medium by Brian K. Vaughan, writer of Saga and Why the Last Man. A great crime comic that also uses the medium in dynamic and experimental ways to tell its story. I thoroughly enjoyed every page. Ed Brubaker, Criminal, The Fade Out, Kill or Be Killed, Fatale. Imagine Quentin Tarantino does Goonies, and excellent. Kieran Gillen, The Wicked and Divine Darth Vader. We got one on here from Greg Rucka, James Tinian. Pretty much everyone you like who writes indie books endorses this. I don't know who
we
you
assume
like.
you like them too.
If you like crime books and you don't like Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka, I can't help you. So, but basically, this is set in, I think it's the late 80s, or the early 80s. It could be the late 70s. Some kids find out that one of their parents is involved in some shady dealings with some bank robbers. But the bank robbers are freaking stupid, so the kids have to kind of band together to fight the bank robbers, to maybe plan a bank robbery. It is 8 kinds of awesome. The plotting, the ending is not what I wanted it to be, but the ride to get there is totally worth it. Amazing characterization, awesome dialogue, great callbacks to the life of a kid in the 70s and 80s. Just a great surprise coming out of Black Mask. They do a lot of good. They do a lot of good miniseries, like one-offs.
Well,
that's almost all they do now.
We Cannot Go Home.
Yeah, We Cannot Go Home. We Can Never Go Home was good.
Was that also Rosenberg?
I think it was.
Okay.
H-Bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmujam.
Brando, The King and I, and The Catcher in the Rye. Sometimes we do this. I also want to point out a new graphic novel that's out this week, Rough Riders Volume 2 by Adam Glass and Patrick Oliff. Rough Riders, I think I've spoken about it before in previous episodes. Published by Aftershock Comics. Rough Riders is the story of Teddy Roosevelt and his group of historical figures that save the day using steampunk-esque weapons. That would include John Henry. Is it John Henry? No, it's not John Henry. It's what's-his-face.
Oh,
crap in a hat.
Is he a boxer?
He is. Jack Thomas.
There you
go. Jack Johnson. Man, I can't read today. Jack Johnson, Harry Houdini.
The guy from New Girl?
Yes. Harry Houdini, Thomas Edison, Monk Eastman of the Eastman Kodak fame, and Annie Oakley from Annie Get Your Gun.
From Greenville, Ohio.
Definitely kind of turn of the century, early 1900s folks. And Oliff is... This is another company that is taking very talented creators and letting them tell their stories. And Oliff, I've been a fan of his stuff since Spider-Girl. Adam Glass is killing it. He did stuff over at DC with the New 52, but he's doing Normals and Rough Riders over at Aftershock, and those are both top-notch. So pick up Volume 1 first, obviously, and then pick up Rough Riders Volume 2 for kind of Western sci-fi, turn-of-the-century stuff with Teddy Roosevelt leading the charge. What's not to love? It's so good. So that is it.
I actually have more to talk about.
Oh, sorry, he has more to talk about. What time is it? We have time?
I have a minute. I'll do it fast.
Okay.
All right. Batman. This is the 800th issue, 35. Still continuing the Talia and Catwoman. I'm going to go out and say it. I think King's run might be better than Snyder's run. Like, if you're a Josh, if you like Neil Gaiman books and like indie Kieran Gillen, if you like that kind of stuff, this is maybe a better... And there's nothing wrong, because I love Snyder's run.
Yeah, but I think King covers more ground than Snyder did. I think he changes things up enough, whereas Snyder was pretty straightforward with the story that he was telling. This does wrap up that storyline, and it is very satisfying to wrap up.
Super Sons, they get their own base, the Fortress of Attitude. It's amazing. Darth Vader made me care about characters from the prequels that I don't care about at all. Awesome Jedi action in a time when there really shouldn't be that many Jedi running around. And last up, Defenders number 7. This is Brian Michael Bendis. If you are a Deadpool fan, I think you should read this just for the intro pages, and there's like 4 of them. It is awesome fun. This is the most fun Bendis has had in the Marvel Universe in a while.
I think he knew he was leaving at
this
point.
He had to have. But just super, super fun.
Comics are awesome, folks. For those that are doubting the veracity of that statement, we are here to prove you wrong. There is so much to love in the comic book industry, some amazing stories to read each and every week. So go out and support your local comic shop. We will also include links to the graphic novels in the show notes if you'd like to pick those up from Alter Ego Comics. We would appreciate that. And, man, it really is a great time to be a comic fan. That is it for this week. As always, you can continue the conversation with us over in our private Facebook group for Comics Are Awesome. There'll be a link in the show notes. If you like this week's episode, give it a thumbs up. The more likes it gets, the more people will see it. And subscribe to the videos so you find out when we add something new. We always appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll see you again real soon.